All right, we're live.
Hello, hello.
Well, I hope everybody's doing all right. I see Twisted Art, Chatty-O, Groovy, Heartsight. All right. So we are here to do a supposed to have been a virtual private tasting, but since Lonestar is not shy, we're going to do a public tasting. But if anyone else wins this, you don't feel pressure. We're not going to drag you up here to do this stuff unless you want to. But to get this kind of set up, I sent bourbons marked A, B, and C, and I have them poured here. A, B, and C. Now, he only has two of them poured right now, but I told him he could pour C over A, and it won't hurt a thing.
Yep.
But to set this up, to let you know what I poured, I'll give you a brief description of the bourbons, but not the proofs or the names. The A bourbon is a bourbon, right? So it follows all the rules of a bourbon, distilled at no more than 160, barreled at no more than 125, and it has to be at least 80 proof bottled. And to be called a bourbon, it has to spend some amount of time in a unused charred oak barrel, but it could be a couple of months, right? And if you look at A, it is very, very pale. No color can be added to bourbon, so that would indicate a very short time in the barrel, right? And a lot of watering down, cutting down with water. The second two are small batch straight bourbon whiskeys, right? So in order to be considered a straight bourbon, it has to be at least 2 years in the barrel with a disclosed age statement, or over 4 or more years in the barrel. So they're going to be darker in color. Because they're going to pick up more color from the wood. So and we were talking backstage before we started. I gave him some notes that I was probably going to call out, but let's go ahead and start with Bourbon A here. All right. You tell me what you get off this.
So I do have the Bourbon Bounty snifter here. So I got A in this one. A little spin here. That'd be a cinnamon note that I smell on that first one. It smells a little bit like cinnamon.
Could be a little bit. If you pull out your note on your nosing kit and give it a little whiff. Now, it's going to be very intense when you do that. Mm-hmm. But what you're looking for is any hint of that once you go back to the bourbon. But it will help.
By the way, I do want to show y'all the nosing kit real quick, just so y'all know kind of what it looks like. Here's the box of all my kits. I got the glasses poured and everything like that. So nice and neat and clean. Let's see here. So I did pull out the cinnamon. Give this a little smell and see. Very subtle.
Yep.
Very subtle.
Well, everything in this bourbon is going to be very subtle.
Okay.
But what I would like you to do now is pull out the butterscotch and tell me if you get that in there.
Let's see here. Yeah, I do get a little bit of butterscotch in there. There's some type of spice. I can definitely get a spice smell as well. I'm not sure if it's the butter, or I'm not sure if it's the cinnamon. I definitely pick up a little bit of the butterscotch.
Yeah, you'll pick up vanilla out of there too a little bit.
try the vanilla here. Where's that one at?
I will say this: there's a note in there on these lower volume bourbons that will fool you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little vanilla, and you might be able to pick up a little apple out of it, but boy, it's going to be faint. But there's a note that comes through on these bourbons that they were distilled high, barreled high, and then cut with a lot of water. I call it a stale note. It's like this watery, stale note to it.
You're right. The dig for that apple. I do get a very, very, very much more subtle than like the cinnamon, but you do get it very, very faint.
Yep.
Yeah, I can get it just a
And
little
that's
bit.
about all you're going to get out of this one. So that's why I call this a beginner bourbon.
Okay.
Let's give her a taste.
Hello, everybody in chat. Cheers to y'all.
You see what I'm talking about? That watery nose note. You get it more pronounced on the tongue. It just barely has any flavor. It's a wash. I mean, you get a few little notes out of it, but that's about it. Also, there's not a lot of oils in this because they watered it down so much. So it doesn't coat the tongue really well.
Would this possibly be a rye or is this a straight?
Oh, this is I don't really know the mash bill on this, but it doesn't really matter what the mash bill is hardly because they've cut it down so much with water to proof it down. And what they're going for is volume of bottles.
Okay.
You know, they're trying to get the maximum amount of bottles to put on the shelf out of the barrel.
No legs on that? What? Crazy end.
Now, the apple should be coming through a little more on the tongue.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was about to start saying is that you can very faintly smell the apple, but when you take a drink out of it, you can definitely taste a little hint of the apple on the front.
Yep.
Very clean, very, very light. Does have some type of that spice. I'm guessing probably a little bit of that cinnamon spice on the back end. Yeah,
it probably has a little rye in it. And a lot of times it depends on the variation of rye that they use, whether they malted it or not, you know, what some of it, but you really need a more intense bourbon to get that pepper end on the finish and all. You're not going to get hardly anything off of this.
Okay.
Now, if people don't really care to drink, this is one you could mix with Sprite or Coke or something, and it would taste like Coke or Sprite.
You wouldn't even taste this because it's more so watered down version.
Yep.
Gotcha. It's a good bourbon though. Very good. Very sweet. Very easy drinker. So yeah, I can see why you put this as the kind of beginner one because it is a little bit lighter. Because B and C progressively get darker in color as you'll see
and more intense.
Yep. What's up, JJ? What's up, Blue Farm?
Now, I will say this, even though that this is an 80 proof cut bourbon, this is not as cheap of a bourbon as like regular Jim Beam or something like that. This is more of a boutique, you know, produced bourbon. So I'll let you know what it is here in just a little bit.
I'm trying to think if I possibly may have stumbled across this in the past. It tastes and smells like something that I've come across. I'm sure I haven't, but it definitely has a same kind of smell and taste of something I've tried before.
Yeah, the more of it you drink, the more you get of that butterscotch toward the back of the tongue.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of a really faint scotch.
Ooh, there we go.
Like one of those Highland scotches.
Can definitely see that. I mean,
I do believe it has a very high corn count to it. I don't know what the mash bill is.
I said it has that spice on the back end, but it's not a lingering spice. Like it's there, and then it just kind of it dissipates.
Yep.
So
It's
very
like
good
rubbing
drinker.
alcohol. You rub it on and it's dry.
Pretty much.
All right.
Yeah. Moving on to B. Or are we still gonna
To be. Yeah, let's do that.
B? All right. So as you can see, it's
Yep. Darker. Noticeably darker. And if you will notice, it does have legs. You're getting the other one had like nothing. I mean, it was a wash down the glass. This actually has some oils clinging to the crystal.
Possibly a little bit of pepper. Crack open the pepper, see.
Now on this one, you need to nose the oak and charred oak both, and the tobacco.
Let's see. You said toasted?
Both the oak and toasted oak. You'll see the difference between the just regular oak and toasted oak.
Okay, so the new oak would be there. The other one you're saying?
Yeah, new oak and toasted oak.
Yes, I got toasted oak, tobacco, and new oak here. So let's see here if I can pick up these smells here. But yeah, definitely smell the oak. Yep, got that one.
So now you know what I'm talking about when I say that's I get, there's some oakiness to this,
So I'm gonna try the tobacco. Might get a subtle hint of the tobacco there.
Yeah, and I didn't include pipe tobacco in the nosing kit. So if I had, I think you would pick it up a little stronger. But that's just raw tobacco that I put in the nosing kit. So there's an undertone of that, but what you really pick up out of this one is a little pipe tobacco.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely pick that up now because I've smelled pipe tobacco, and you definitely get that. Yep, definitely.
Yep.
And then go for the toasted oak here. That just smells good. Yep, definitely get the toasted oak. You get the mix between like a toasted oak and the normal oak. You kind of get, like, you can definitely smell both of them differently.
Yeah, a lot of times it's some bourbons you don't pick up as much new oak because they actually slow toast their barrels instead of blast charring them. And when they blast char the barrel, you tend to pick up more of a char, but you also pick up more new oak out of it because it's cracking the wood, as it chars it like really hot, and it opens it up to where the bourbon can seep into the uncharred raw wood.
Now there's a sweetness to it as well, or is it?
Yeah, and that's due. Some of that is due to the grains, and some of it is due to the wood sugars that came out with the char.
All right.
But all of those other notes, like you should be getting some apple, but that's where I talk about fresh apple versus like roasted apples or raisins and things like that. You'll get different kind of fruit, and some of it goes into like the better bourbons go into darker fruits and not fresh fruit.
Forget that. There it is. Let's see here. There's definitely a like a sweetness. I could tell that would probably come from some type of fruit.
Yeah.
That's probably where that sweetness. And obviously, you said the wood sugars as well would cause that sweetness.
Yeah. Once you get it on your tongue, it'll like you'll start seeing, oh yeah, that's what I was smelling, type thing, and you'll be able to describe it a little better.
All right.
So let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's a really good bourbon.
Wow. That is right off the bat, taste is good. It's got that, again, on the back end, a little bit of that heat, but it just kind of dissipates, but it kind of lingers on the tongue. But man, that is good. I'm trying to figure out what taste I get off that. I think a little bit of the apple does shine on the taste.
Yep. And it's got a little apple spice kick to it, like an apple pie spice.
Mm-hmm. Like an allspice.
Darker caramel. I'm not picking up hardly any butterscotch. It's more of a caramel molassesy.
Definitely not that. Let's see. Maybe a little bit of corn, possibly.
Oh yeah, they're all going to have that, but some of them it'll be more pronounced. Do me a favor though, and get it ready for the last one as well. And I don't want to scare people off with this, but grab the licorice.
For the last one or for this one?
Well, this one and the last one. You'll see a more pronounced note come through. It doesn't taste like licorice, trust me, but you're going to get a hint of it.
Yeah, I can tell on the taste. It's not the first thing that pops up, but it's definitely on that back a little bit.
It's like a good painting, if you only use 2 colors to paint a painting, it's flat. But if you use all the palette, you're going to have a very detailed picture.
It just smells sweet, and the taste of this is something you would not want to mix with anything. You would want to probably drink this neat, or maybe with splash of water or something like that. But that's about it. Definitely would not want to mix this with anything.
Now, I told you the proof on the first one, right?
You said 80, I believe.
Yeah. Now, what do you think the proof is on? It's higher, but how high do you think this goes?
I would say just based off the taste and a little bit of the heat, because I know the higher proofs have that, a little bit of that heat on the back end, kind of like that rye heat. I would say probably that one was probably about a 95.
All right.
What a bourbon?
Bourbon. How's it going? Now, I went from A and B are miles apart, but C is going to blow your mind.
Yeah, it's got that sweet heat on the front, and it kind of lingers toward the back, but then it dissipates, but the flavor still. And polar bear, yes, they did. Yeah, that's a. And now you said this one was a actual whiskey, correct?
It's a straight bourbon whiskey.
Straight bourbon whiskey, okay.
Which means it has been aged more than 2 years, and they don't put an age statement that I know of, so it's probably 4 years. Because if it's under 4 years on a straight bourbon, they used to make them put it on the bottle. Now they just have to prominently display it somewhere, like on their website or whatever.
I get a little bit of a leather smell to it. Now that I've smoked the leather again, I get a little bit of a leather smell.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing I was talking about with some of these, the tobaccos, the leathers, and all that'll start coming out on your darker, more aged bourbons.
Okay.
But when you get a little of it, you've got something,
Yeah, I can definitely get a little bit of that. Like I said, a little bit of that tobacco, maybe a little bit of leather. You can definitely taste the oak for sure. I mean, you can smell the tobacco and the oak, but when you drink this, you can definitely taste it.
Mute just right.
That is good. That is good.
Had to clear my throat there.
So how close was I on the proof on that particular one?
Well, you're off, but you're not off. Okay, you know how they say it's 38 degrees outside, but it feels like 32?
Yeah.
There's bourbons that are like over 100 proof that drink like they're 95, 98. And I think you were spot on with the way it drinks because it is a smoother bourbon. I know smooth is not really a descriptor, but when a bourbon drinks below its like proof heat, then it's more refined. You know, it's coming through a little more refined. So let me tell you what A and B were.
Okay.
And then we'll get to C. So A is a boutique little bourbon by Lead Slinger. Lead Slinger bourbon whiskey. But again, this is a lot like the regular old Jim Beam, Evan Williams, Benchmark, that type of stuff where they distill it high, barrel it high, cut it way down to 80 proof. And it really washes the notes out.
So they're having to use an excess amount of water to cut that down from a high proof down to a lower proof. They're using a lot of water to do that. Okay.
Right. Now, this is a small batch, which doesn't really, there's no legal description of small batch. I mean, if I had a distillery that produced 1 million barrels, I could call 10,000 a small batch, you know. I mean, but this is Peerless.
Peerless, okay.
Right. And Peerless, small batch, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 109 proof,
109,
but it drinks well below that proof mark.
Yeah, whenever I tasted that, I definitely didn't get a sense that it was over 100. It drank a lot lower than 100. Well, not say a lot, maybe about 5%, which is, I said 95. So it definitely does not drink at that high proof. Absolutely not.
Now we can go ahead and get ready for C.
All right, let me finish my glass A real quick so I can pour it over. I got one little sip left for me. Now, an A, as I went back to it, that butterscotch, whenever I even picked the glass up and even held it here for a second, that butterscotch really came out. That was the first thing I smelled when I picked the glass back up.
Yep.
Wow. All right. So I got C here, so it's a little bit darker than B.
And I'll explain that too here shortly.
Now, I will say this nosing kit will definitely help me out because I am getting more into the bourbons and whiskeys. I did use it. I have that, like the JD single barrel proof, and I use it on that. I haven't used it on the Larceny yet. I'll probably do that sometime this week. And a couple other ones that I have. I'll definitely be using this and see if I can pull out some of the smells and tastes.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, he went through every, like he would smell the whiskey and then open one and go,
Nope and nope.
Yes
and
or no. And then if it was yes, he would set it there, and even just a hint of it, he would, you know, and then he would stack rank them, you know, and that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
Because this one is very complex.
Jimmy says, "Oh man, that C." So obviously, it's the same one he had.
It's not the same one, but it's the same caliber.
Okay.
This one, I will say, I paid homage to your geographic location.
Okay. Would it possibly be a TX?
We will find out.
So I get a little bit of licorice on that one.
Oh, yeah. That's why I wanted you to pull that licorice out.
Yep. So I got the licorice there. Let's see. What's that sweet? Maybe a little bit of cinnamon.
Yep. You should be getting leather, tobacco, cinnamon, new oak, toasted oak, or yeah.
STD, you're crazy.
A little vanilla in the background, but it's overtaken by the and you might even get a little wild honey in there, but you have to picture it darker than what you're smelling in the honey.
Let's see here. Yeah, definitely get the tobacco. This is the toasted oak. Definitely get a little bit of toasted oak in there, like you said. Let's see. You said vanilla. Definitely get the vanilla as well. Very subtle vanilla.
Yeah, you're going to get so many notes out of that kid on this one. That's why it's an advanced bourbon.
Let's see here. Try the honey. I haven't tried the honey yet. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely the wild honey. I can definitely smell the honey in there. I'm not sure if this is wild honey, but you can definitely get a smell of that honey.
Kathy Bates doesn't hit on men; she beats the crap out of them.
Right? She smashes their ankles, makes them cry like little girls. Let's see here.
Ooh, I love the nose on this one.
The nose is amazing. So another something sweet. I mean, maybe the vanilla and the licorice. I'm trying to see if I can pinpoint anything else in there.
Well, I mean, the only floral I gave you is rose, but there is wildflower in this one too.
Okay, I can definitely see what you're saying on the
But
wildflower.
it's not quite rose, but there's a floral to it.
Yes. Because I mean, I just smelled the rose, and it's not exactly the rose, but it does have that characteristic to it. Yes. God, the nose on it is good. It's sweet. It's got the vanilla. It's got the licorice. It's got tobacco. It's got an oak smell, floral smell. So the nose is absolutely, it's a very clean smell. I like it.
All right, let's taste it.
Cheers.
Cheers. The first thing that's going to punch you in the face, whether you know it or not, is toasted oak.
Yep. Right on the front of the tongue is definitely oak. Definitely oak.
Then it dissipates and all those other flavors come through.
I get a little bit of tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of vanilla. Steam-fired eyes found out that Fireball comes in a keg. That could be dangerous.
And that pepper kick on the back end where you can swallow 2 or 3 times and you still taste it on the finish.
Yeah, definitely the pepper. That is, I can tell that this is a high proof. I can tell this drinks is a high proof, and I'm guaranteeing it's a high proof. I would bet. Yeah, you definitely get that pepper, like you just said. Yeah, that drink's very high.
So I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do about this bourbon.
Well, you said it's from my region, so I'm guessing probably somewhere down south or even Texas per se.
This is a Texas straight bourbon whiskey. Now, the state doesn't, there's no legal, the definition for that, but it is a straight bourbon whiskey, distilled, barreled, produced, bottled, everything in Texas.
You definitely get the pepper. You get that. It's a little bit of a burn on the back end, but it's not. It's not. It's like a little bit of a pepper, like you said. Swallow a couple of times, you can still taste it.
Oh, and that dark sweetness of those wood sugars coming through.
That is good. That is good.
Just a hint of bitter to it. That's coming from the tannins in the wood, simply due to aging in that climate. So let me reveal this thing.
Maybe a little bit of Garrison Brothers.
This is the small batch. I will say that this does drink a little hotter than its proof. This is 47%, 94 proof.
94 proof. Okay.
And it is a straight bourbon whiskey with an age statement of 3 years. And the only reason that they only leave it in there, because that's what they're going for, is because the climate is so freaking hot and dry in Texas that it's going to color that bourbon a hell of a lot faster. You know, and that it's going to get into that wood a lot heavier. Yeah, for what they are able to achieve in 3 years with this is phenomenal, and that it's expensive as hell too. But that's because they distill it lower and barrel it low, and they don't cut it down a lot with water before they bottle it. So all they're getting is what's in the barrel. I mean, that's
pretty much it's from barrel to, it's from the machine down to the barrel. Just a little bit of water, and you're pretty much getting exactly what they created. Put it right in the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
God, that is good. I said it is hot, but it's not overbearingly hot. Like I said, I would have thought it would have been at least 100 proof. Like you said, it was 94.
Well, the reason I chose these was to stump you. I picked Peerless because it's 109 proof, but it drinks like a 95. And I picked Garrison Brothers because it's 94 and it drinks like a 110.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. Whenever I drank this, I thought it was at least, like I said, over 100 easily.
But that just goes to let you know that proof doesn't dictate the quality of the bourbon. Now, I do love me some barrel proofs and cast strengths, and they have a lot more intensity of flavor a lot of times, but you can find some gems with these lower proof bourbons. It just depends on how they did it.
Okay.
Oh, that caramel's coming through now too. After you finish, you see how long those flavors last on the tongue?
They do last a long time, and also like whenever I'm talking or we're talking, and then all of a sudden I come back to it, I get a new nose. Whenever I drink it after it sits for a second, I get a new taste. But definitely, did I pull out the caramel?
Oh, I didn't have caramel. I put vanilla and butterscotch in there.
Definitely got vanilla. Yeah, I definitely got that sweetness of like the vanilla. The butterscotch mixed in with that floral, and then that a little bit of the pepper and licorice on the back end.
My watch is telling me to get up and move around. It said, "You've been lazy
today." Be quiet.
Yeah. Well, I did go to Moxville to my honey hole and picked up 4 more bourbons today.
So I was gonna go drive somewhere, but I don't know if I can now. I have to eat me a hamburger. God, that is so good. Like I said, it drinks very, very high, but it's insane. That is good. That is really good. I've never had any of the 3 that you provided. Yep. So
this is one that 5 minutes from now, you're like the notes on your tongue will change, but they'll still be there unless you drink a lot of water. But if you just leave the bourbon to linger, the A is not going to do that. C is not going to do it. I mean, B is not going to do it, but C, like 5 minutes from now, you'll be like, "Ooh, there's another note."
Okay. Like I said, I did it with A. I did all the nosing. I tried it, and then I came back to it to finish it, and all of a sudden that butterscotch was just like the very first thing that I smelled out of it. And with B, same thing. It wasn't butterscotch, but I think it was the vanilla or the licorice. I got a lot of that as well. So the longer I let it sit, you're definitely getting different notes on it.
I forgot to buy more Fireball today. Sorry, JV. I can't give you that one cinnamon note I get off of Fireball.
That one cinnamon. Let's see here. Yeah, I know Blue Farm. Yeah, you get the vanilla. I'm trying to figure out if there's any other like sweets. I get the vanilla, you get the floral, get the oak, a little
Little
bit of
licorice.
cinnamon, a little bit of licorice. That is good.
With tobacco. Should be getting leather out of there too.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, definitely get the leather and the taste and the smell. Wow.
I don't know. Have you tried the clove yet? There may be some undertone of clove in it.
Yeah, definitely get the clove there.
Oh, you should get like almost every thing from the nose at some point.
Every single one of these things. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you get the sweet, you get the oak, you get the cinnamon. I mean, this is just everything that I've smelled so far, I can definitely either taste it or I can smell it for sure.
Yeah. If you have any of the bourbon left from A and C, if you pour a little of A, you'll go through the nosing kit and it'll be no, 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 maybe. Okay, yeah, no, 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 no. And then C is going to be just the opposite. It's going to be yeah, 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 all the way through.
Well, I drank the rest of A to pour C, but I have a little bit of B left.
Yeah. And B, you'll get about half the notes.
Yeah, and again, I picked this up, and it's just a butterscotch. Well, I mean, butterscotch was the first smell I got on that one too, along with the leather and the oak and everything.
But like a lot of times you'll read a review and they'll say predominantly yada yada yada, but I am picking up blah blah blah, but they're going completely off of memory.
Let's see here. A little bit of the apple and C. Not much, but it could be a little bit of a hint.
Yeah, it's probably more like a roasted apple, spiced apple pie type,
Yep. Yeah, like a little bit of, like I said, roasted cinnamon, roasted apple.
A little all spicy.
Yeah. Definitely getting all that in there as well. Absolutely. Like you said, everything I've smelt so far has been on C. That is for sure. A little bit of the pine, not a whole lot,
But so let me ask you, if you were going to buy these bourbons, and I see a B was miles apart from A, but it was closer to C, but C still, knocked it for a loop. I think I overpaid for Lead Slingers because to me it's just barely better than a base bourbon that you can get for like $6, and I probably paid in the 20s for it, right?
Okay.
But Peerless is about 50, 55, somewhere along in there. And I think it's right in its price range. But the Garrison Brothers, I paid about 120 for it. And I think it's right in there where it needs to be. I think it's a right around $100 bourbon. It may have been slightly overpriced, but still, though, I mean, it's opinion on some of that stuff.
The Garrison Brothers, B and C are definitely, out of the three would be my top two, just by flavor, just by smell. And, if I see that, I could definitely see myself drinking both of those on a regular basis. A, like you said, it was very cut. It was a very subtle. And with A, again, like you said, you could definitely use that if you were to mix it with Sprite or ginger ale or something like that. You
wouldn't even taste it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want a good, a better bourbon that's 80 proof, that's just cut down like crazy, that has a really mild flavor, Benchmark, you can get 750 milliliters for $10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, McAfee Benchmark is bottled by Buffalo Trace. It's their regular old base bourbon for people who don't really like bourbon.
Speaking of Buffalo Trace, I went to 2 liquor stores the other day looking for Buffalo Trace, and there wasn't one in sight. I even asked store people, I was like, "Is there any Buffalo Trace here?" Nope, no Buffalo Trace to be found. So I guess for the holidays, everybody was scooping it all up.
Well, Chris, when I stopped by the store, Chris Howell is the chair of the. She runs the Moxville ABC store there, and there's only a 3-store board. So she gets, and she's a bourbon head, so she gets like all the good stuff. And when I walk in, she's like, "I got this for you. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay, I got this for you. Yeah, I'll take it." I mean, so I try to buy whatever she has, but luckily, like sometimes I'll walk in and she'll, "Hey, I have a bottle of Eagle Rare." And I told her one time, I said, "Anytime you get Eagle Rare or Buffalo Trace, just set them up there. I'm going to buy them, But then I walk in and I'm like, well, I only want to spend about 300. So, and then all of a sudden there's a bottle of, there's $70 or $70, $80 worth of bourbon already sitting there. And I'm like, damn it. So,
Yeah, I'm still looking at some point to try the Willet, because I have the I can't remember the name, the Metallica bourbon, I can't think of the name of it, but I know they have that, in a higher proof with the Willet. Yeah, I would like to just try that just by itself, though.
yeah, Willet makes some pretty good stuff, but the Willet pot still, it has very mixed reviews. I liked it okay. It is a little strong. It's the one that looks like the I Dream a Genie bottle, the fat at the bottom. It's got the skinny neck.
Looks like the Sam Adams Utopia bottles. Whenever they're the Sam Adams Utopia, it's like a barrel proof beer, and they pour it like in that little genie.
Yeah.
Blackened, yes, JV. Blackened. The blackened Willet is okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now Blackened is a whiskey, not a bourbon.
It is a whiskey. Okay. So that is noted.
Yeah. I saw it on the shelf today. I could have grabbed it, but yeah, it's sometimes I grab stuff for the other shelf, but sometimes I don't.
Because I actually have a bottle of the blackened, not the Willet, just the normal blackened, that I'll be at some point giving away on my channel. So
yeah. that
and it's hard not to open. It's so hard not to open it up.
I'm not going to include like cabbage in the nosing kit, but yeah, there's some notes, at least nose on Willet pot still that's off-putting, and I think it's not so much on the palate, but it is on the nose, and I think that's what turns a lot of people off to it.
Interesting.
I don't have a bottle of it anymore. That was back when I had a shelf crash. I had a glass shelf over there. They're all solid oak now, trust me. But I had one of those tempered glass shelves, just all of a sudden just shattered, and like all of my bourbon fell.
I bet that was a crying moment. Like,
that was a damn mess, is what it was.
Bourbon everywhere. Plus, you're sitting your bottles going, man, I got to replace each and every single one of those things.
Yep.
Yeah, this C's kind of growing on me. I'm getting new smells, and like I said, it has everything. But it's just every time I take a sip or put a nose to it, it's a different smell every time.
Yeah, it'll take you on a ride.
It is true. That's good. I said I see Garrison Brothers. So I may have to snag me a bottle of that sometime.
I forget what I even sent Oji-san. I know the C was different, what I sent him.
Was the A and B the same?
No, I choose 3 different ones about every time. I mean, because I have so many choices, and it's just fairly easy. But the reason I like to give people things like the Lead Slingers is people say, oh, Buffalo Trace is a base bourbon. It's a starter bourbon. Really, it's not. It's not quite peerless, but it's getting up there in notes. And if if you don't know how many notes it has, you're not appreciating the bourbon, because I call Buffalo Trace the campfire bourbon. It's got a lot of earthy tones to it. Those a little sharper notes on the finish, a little rougher on the finish, than some more refined bourbons. But you get a lot of that toasted oak in it, and it reminds me of what I would want to drink, and it's what I do drink sometimes when we go camping and pull the trailer out and we have a campfire and all that. It stands up well to that type of environment. And it's cheap enough, if you can find it, that you can hammer a couple of bottles of it and you don't cry over it.
Ojisan said mixtures. I guess that was his C.
No, that wasn't C. Michter's is more of a B bourbon. I may have given you Michter's on B.
Lesslinger is one of the most boring bourbons.
I know what I gave Ojisan. I poured him that one you can't get anymore, that 2006, that it was the Bellmead Cast Strength Reserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
That smells so good.
What's up, Lissy?
Yeah. Like I said, so Ledslinger was my B.
Ledslinger was your A.
Was my A. Okay. Imperialist was my B. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, Ledslinger, like I said, you could definitely mix that. It didn't have that many notes to it. And like you said, it's cut with so much water. It's it's not going to have a bunch of notes.
I'm going to look right quick. Hang on. There's Ojisan's list. I gave him Cyrus Noble, Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Oh no, it was Calumet Farms 15. Is what
I gave the Calumet for the C.
Yeah, for C he got Calumet Farm 15 year. And Wild Turkey Rare Breed, not the rye, just the regular straight bourbon. And then Cyrus Noble, which is actually the Cyrus Noble is a little more noted than it's several more notes than that Ledslinger, but you get the picture.
I said it was good. Didn't last long.
No, it doesn't last long.
I know Pigskin Blitz enjoyed the Calumet 15. I saw his review on that. I'm going to mute for a second when my dog gets done coughing. Hold on.
Okay. But Oji-san, I had a file with it all listed. I keep my files. But now you have the nosing kit, and now you can go just knock yourself out, buy different stuff, and walk through it with that. And
like I said, and I got the larceny sitting in the kitchen. I'm definitely going to pour a little bit of that and see kind of what I get out of this.
The larceny.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. Larceny is Heaven Hill, and so is Elijah Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And the regular Elijah Craig small batch against Larceny's drier. It doesn't have as many sweet notes to it. And you're going to get a lot of vanilla, apple, caramel, things like that off of the Elijah Craig. And you're going to get more earthy, darker notes, but not like the Garrison brothers that had like the molassesy stuff coming through with all the tobacco and everything. It's just not as sweet of a bourbon.
All right. Yeah, I got the larceny. I got the Jack Daniel's single, the barrel proof. I do have the black in it, but I'm trying not to open that thing. And of course, I got a nice bottle of McCormick's, which I happened to stumble across McCormick's at the store the other day. I was like, you know what? I've got to buy this thing. So I do have a bottle of McCormick's. I took a shot of it the other night for the first time. I was like, it's different. It is definitely.
Yeah, I didn't put powdered fake hazelnut in there in that nosing kit either.
That would be perfect for the McCormick's. That is for sure.
I don't know. I've never tasted McCormick's. I don't know.
I said it wasn't bad. I was expecting it to taste like a Rucka, one of those little chocolate hazelnut candies.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to taste like that. It does, but it doesn't. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean,
What do they call it? They call it a bourbon flavored whiskey. Is that what
bourbon.
it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get it for like, I mean, I got bought like this big for like $6, $5, something like that.
I started to say they paid you to take it out of the store.
Exactly. Get rid of the thing. It's like the distributor keeps bringing them in here. We're trying to get rid of them. So go ahead and just buy it and we'll give it to you. I'm sure Oji-san knows all about that.
Oh, yeah. He didn't pay much more than that for that big old gallon he bought.
Yep. I would have bought that just to be funny, but I got the, like I said, it's,
Yeah.
At the 375, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this up soon. This was just to highlight that nosing kit.
Mm-hmm. And again, I definitely tune in every Thursday over here, and he does a bunch of put me ins, and that's kind of how I won this. So definitely come in and try to win yourself one. It's a nice kit. There's pretty much anything and everything you could possibly think of in this nosing kit. You did a good job on that.
Yeah, Tipsy. I guess if they called it bourbon flavored whiskey, they didn't really break the law. They put the word bourbon on there, but they can say, they did say the law. They made a determination like if there's a whiskey produced overseas somewhere, like in Europe, they can bottle it and sell it that it's made in the style of bourbon. Like it can meet everything in the law except for it wasn't produced in the United States, so it can't be called bourbon. But if they meet every other thing, they can say in the style of bourbon.
Interesting. So it's not like Scotch. It can only be made in Scotland.
Yep. Well, I mean, Japanese whiskey is Scotch, right? It's just not made in Scotland because the Japanese went over and studied with the master distillers in Scotland and then went back and locally procured everything and made it in the style of Scotch. So, but it's just Japanese whiskey. They don't even put in the style of Scotch on the bottle, but they could,
Okay.
you know.
Interesting tidbit. Did not know that. Golly. I keep coming back to this and smelling everything different. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's good stuff. And I have a lot of it left in the bottle. I could just pour more.
I just poured the last of that in my gullet, so
Right.
I got a little bit of B left. So
there you go.
A and C are a little bit of the Peerless, I believe, was B. You said.
Well, I tell you what, if you come in second place on one of these, that's a 2-ounce pour.
Okay.
So I'll let you pick.
Oh, so you're not always going to pour the Calumet, or you're not going to always pour the same thing. It's all going to
No, well, because I don't want people to know what they have.
Okay.
You know, A is not going to be as good as B, is not going to be as good as C.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want people thinking like if I pour Eagle Rare as B, some people go, oh, that Eagle Rare, just because it's Eagle Rare, they're going to think, oh, that was better than C. But no, let's walk through it without you knowing what it is. Because I'm telling you right now, Eagle Rare is a fine bourbon, but it's nowhere near some of the better bourbons.
Yeah. And I think I've had Eagle Rare once.
I mean, if you've had, I'll tell you this from day to day to day. If you pour a Michter's, the US one, the small batch, in a glass and have someone just mix them up with Eagle Rare in the other glass, you would have a hard time unless you are very, very familiar with both bourbons, like on a daily basis. You're not going to be able to tell them apart.
Okay. Good Lord. My dog is hacking over there. Yeah. Good Lord. They definitely thank you again for allowing all of us to be in this quarterly drawing. This nosing kit. Trust me, when you get it, you'll be surprised, and like I said, I will be using this quite a bit now that I'm getting into bourbons and whiskeys. So
I am going to get some that white plumber's tape on the next one I send out, and I'm going to wrap the threads and then screw the lid down because you had one leak on you. And Oji-san had one leak on him. 1 out of 24 is not bad, but I don't want any leakage.
now, and I think it's just, you know, if they, you know, if these go on an airplane, you're gonna get that pressure, and I think that's, you know, maybe the pressure may have caused that, but it, you know, it wasn't bad whatsoever. You individually wrapped each and every single one of them, so not bad whatsoever.
Yep. Yeah,
They
and
all
that's why I kind of wrap.
wrapped.
If I use that plumber's tape on there, I may not, you know, wrap each one. I may trust that seal then. But I do save the bag that the little things come in, and I bag them 12 and 12. And now, not everybody's going to get that same box you got. It's going to be a different box every time. That was a nicer box.
I saw that. I was like, I mean, they fit just right. They fit in there, so all 24 fit, and then it even had a space for the three samples right along the top. I was like, this is like a perfect whiskey nosing kit, even with the samples up top. So I was like, this is awesome. But
I do have an idea I might do on the next one. I'll have to measure. I have this really nice Pelican case waterproof box, and it's not Pelican brand, but it's a different one. But I carry my camera and my VR camera and all of my sensitive equipment in it when we go out in the travel trailer and everything. And I may see if those things will fit in that and send a very nice kit.
There you go. It's going to get better and better.
Better and better.
There you go.
And then Oji-san will be like, I need to win first prize again.
I put a box to put all my stuff in. But yeah, I mean, if I happen to win again, I will definitely say, hey, respin that, or, you know, I'll pass it on just like it was the first time when Oji-san got it. It was passed on, you know, to a couple people. So if I have it again,
but just remember, there's you can get an extra glass. You can get, you know, and also remember this next weekend or coming up here in the next month or so, we're going to be setting up that laser engraver.
Nice.
So
are you going to be doing that live so we can actually see how you do it and everything? Is that going to be like a
because I'm going to fumble through it. I'll take a short video of it after I kind of get it set up, you know, to show it. But it's not a Glowforge, but it's a different brand. But Glowforge doesn't make a laser engraver. I mean, I know everyone knows that name because it's saturated, you know, with the advertising. But Glowforge only does small flat stuff, and they're $3,000 or $4,000. Well, this thing here was about $1,000 or so, and it has a rocker in it where you can put the glass on it, and it'll rock the glass around while it's engraving. And Glowforge doesn't even have a rocker option for glassware.
Okay. Well, my next go-to is going to be the rocks glass. Now that I got the snifter, now it's time to go for the rocks glass.
Yeah, I've got you one sitting right up there.
Very nice.
And I'll tell you this, the rocks glass, because they're a flatter surface, turned out a lot better on the etching. I mean, that turned out fine. But I'm a perfectionist, and I mean, like, I want to see it perfect. And that's why the laser engraver has, because it's going to be like the 3D printer. It's not going to mess up. It's going to do exactly what you tell it to do.
Oh, yeah. Wow, those are good.
All right.
Starting to feel a nice little buzz, but not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Have a piece of bread, I'll be fine.
There you go.
So, but thank you again, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this live. Because I know typically you do these virtually, kind of off air. Like you said at the beginning, you know, I wanted to do this on air so people could see it, and you know.
Yeah, and I'll refer people back to this and stuff like that. Hey, you want to know what it is? There you go. Go have a look.
There you go.
But again, no pressure for anybody. If somebody wins and they don't want to go live like this, we won't. We'll do it on Zoom and not StreamYard.
True. Yeah, I wanted to do it live just so that way people could see it and experience it and kind of see kind of what goes into it. So it is awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for hopping on here and watching. And I hope y'all enjoyed. And Lonestar, I hope you enjoy your kit and hope you enjoyed the bourbons.
Absolutely. Enjoyed everything. The bourbons, the kit, and the experience. So thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
All right.
Later, everybody.